Madam Chairwoman, delegates, I accept your nomination for President of the United States.
Mr. Chairman and delegates, I accept your nomination for President of the United States.
Because in order to look like an acceptable, reasonable, moderate alternative to President Obama, they just didn't say very much about the ideas they've offered over the last 2 years. They couldn't. Because they want to go back to the same old policies that got us in trouble in the first place. They want to cut taxes for high-income Americans even more than President Bush did. They want to get rid of those pesky financial regulations designed to prevent another crash and prohibit future bailouts. They want to actually increase defense spending over a decade, $2 trillion more than the Pentagon has requested, without saying what they'll spend it on. And they want to make enormous cuts in the rest of the budget, especially programs that help the middle class and poor children. As another president once said, there they go again. Now, I like the argument for President Obama's re-election a lot better. Here it is. He inherited a deeply damaged economy. He put a floor under the crash. He began the long, hard road to recovery and laid the foundation for a modern, more well-balanced economy that will produce millions of good new jobs, vibrant new businesses, and lots of new wealth for innovators. Now, are we where we want to be today? No. Is the president satisfied? Of course not. But are we better off than we were when he took office? Listen to this.
Governor, I want to start with this. You have been going through this process of deciding who you wanted as your running mate for about 3 months. Very methodical, all of it conducted in secret. What I would like to know, was there one point where there was one moment when you said, this is the guy, this is my guy?
Well, actually, we've been working together for a while, and over the last year, Paul and I have come together on some policy issues and sat down and discussed those things. I was impressed with his understanding of the issues that we were facing and also his political acumen, but then we spent some time on the campaign trail. I got to meet his wife and 3 children and was very impressed. But the final decision, Bob, was not until really August 1st. When I kept my mind open, but I was intrigued and inclined towards Paul for some time, but I kept my mind open, and then on August 1st, it was time to make that final decision. I called Paul and said, I'd like to meet you on Sunday, and we sat down and made it happen.
3 years, all everybody's been told is, don't worry, we'll take care of it. How are you going to do it 2 months before elections to convince everybody you got to take care of your son? There are 47% of the people who vote for the president on the phone. All right, there are 47% who are with him, who are dependent on government, who believe that they're victims, who believe the government has a responsibility to care for them, who believe that they're entitled to health care, to food, to housing, to you name it. But it's an entitlement, and the government should give it to them. And they will vote for this president no matter what. I mean, the president starts off with 48, 49, 40, he starts off with a huge number. These are people who pay no income tax. 47% of Americans pay no income tax. So our message of low taxes doesn't connect. He'll be out there talking about tax cuts for the rich. I mean, that's what they sell every 4 years. And so my job is not to worry about those people. I'll never convince them that they should take personal responsibility and care for their lives. What I have to do is convince the 5 to 10% in the Senate that are independent, that are thoughtful, that look and voting one way or the other, depending upon, in some cases, emotion, whether they like the guy.
If an abortion could be considered in a case of, say, a tubal pregnancy or something like that, what about in the case of rape? Should it be legal or not?
Well, people always want to try and make that as one of those things. Well, how do you slice this particularly tough sort of ethical question. It seems to me, first of all, from what I understand from doctors, that's really rare. If it's a legitimate rape, the female body has ways to try to shut that whole thing down. But let's assume that maybe that didn't work or something. You know, I think there should be some punishment, but the punishment ought to be in the rapist and not attacking the child.
Jeff Glor is here with this story about Indiana's Republican U.S. Senate candidate. He's in some hot water over comments he has made. Jeff, good morning.
Nora, good morning to you. All three candidates in the race for Indiana's open Senate seat oppose abortion, but none of them went as far as the state's current treasurer last night.
And I, too, certainly stand for life.
The remark came during the end of Tuesday's final debate for Indiana's open Senate seat, when Richard Murdoch was asked about abortion.
I think even when life begins in that horrible situation of rape, that it is something that God intended to happen.
President Obama and Governor Romney are aiming their campaigns at a shrinking target, those voters who have not yet made up their minds or who say they could still change their minds. So, as they go, so goes the election. CBS News, with the help of GFK's Knowledge Panel, recruited about 500 of these uncommitted voters to watch the debate tonight and give us their reaction. Anthony Mason is in New York, and he tells us now what we found out. Anthony?
Scott, among those uncommitted voters who we polled right after the debates tonight, the results were quite convincing for Governor Romney. We asked them, which candidate do you think did the best job or won tonight's debate? 22% said the president, 46% said Governor Romney, so about a 2-to-1 win there. That moved the needle in another way for Governor Romney tonight. We asked after tonight's debate, has your opinion of Governor Romney changed for the better? 56% said it had. Only 11% said it had changed for the worse. Finally, Governor Romney has been criticized for not possibly relating to middle class or ordinary Americans. We asked voters whether each candidate cares about their needs and problems. Before the debate, 30%, only 30% said Governor Romney did. 53% said President Obama did. But look at after the debate. Romney's numbers almost doubled to 63%. President Obama's did move up slightly. He still leads there, but Romney gained a lot of ground here.
Good morning. Every day, all across the world, American diplomats and civilians work tirelessly to advance the interests and values of our nation. Often, they are away from their families. Sometimes they brave great danger. Yesterday, 4 of these extraordinary Americans were killed in an attack on our diplomatic post in Benghazi. Among those killed was our ambassador, Chris Stevens, as well as Foreign Service Officer Sean Smith. We are still notifying the families of the others who were killed. And today, the American people stand united in holding the families of the 4 Americans in our thoughts and in our prayers.
On the day following the assassination of a United States ambassador, the first time that's happened since 1979, when we have 4 Americans killed there, when apparently we didn't know what happened, that the president, the day after that happened, flies to Las Vegas for a political fundraiser.
The day after the attack, Governor, I stood in the Rose Garden and I told the American people in the world that we were going to find out exactly what happened, that this was an act of terror, and I also said that we're going to hunt down those who committed this crime. And the suggestion that anybody in my team would play politics or mislead when we've lost 4 of our own, Governor, is offensive.
I want to make sure we get that for the record, because it took the president 14 days before he called the attack in Benghazi an act of terror.
Get the transcript.
He did, in fact, sir. So let me call it an act of terror.
Can you say that a little louder, Candy?
He did call it an act of terror.
We understand the president has declared New York and New Jersey disaster areas already. How does that help you?
Helps us tremendously. I spoke to the president 3 times yesterday. He called me for the last time at midnight last night asking what he could do. I said if he could expedite designating New Jersey as a major disaster area, that would help us to get federal money and resources in here as quickly as possible to help clean up the damage here. The President was great last night. He said he would get it done. At 2 a.m. I got a call from FEMA to answer a couple of final questions, and then he signed the declaration this morning. So I have to give the President great credit. He's been on the phone with me 3 times in the last 24 hours. He has been very attentive, and anything that I've asked for, he's gotten to me. So I thank the President publicly for that. He has done, as far as I'm concerned, a great job for New Jersey.
Over the last couple of months, you have appeared throughout the country, Governor, on behalf of Mitt Romney, talking him up for President of the United States. I know he and the President off the campaign trail today, although we hear that perhaps he's going to, Mr. Romney may do some storm-related events. Is there any possibility that Governor Romney may go to New Jersey to tour some of the damage with you?
I have no idea, nor am I the least bit concerned or interested.
Planned Parenthood, we're going to get rid of that.
But just because they call a piece of legislation an equal pay bill doesn't make it so. In fact, much of this legislation is in many respects nothing but an effort to help trial lawyers collect their fees and file lawsuits, which may not contribute at all whatsoever to increasing pay equity in the workplace.
So if you don't deport them, how do you send them home?
Well, the answer is self-deportation, which is people decide that they can do better by going home because they can't find work here because they don't have legal documentation to allow them to work.
This is an ABC News special report. Your voice, your vote. Election night 2012. Here again, Diane Sawyer and George Stephanopoulos.
And here we mark the time. Here we are. Ohio is in. We are projecting the battleground state of Ohio for President Barack Obama, which means you are looking at the President of the United States. Barack Obama has been reelected, the 44th president. Listen to the crowd out in Times Square. The man who came in promising the audacity of hope 4 years ago will now have a chance to promise possibility, a new future for the next 4 years.
Tonight, more than 200 years after a former colony won the right to determine its own destiny, the task of perfecting our union moves forward. It moves forward because of you. It moves forward because you reaffirmed the spirit that has triumphed over war and depression, the spirit that has lifted this country from the depths of despair to the great heights of hope, the belief that while each of us will pursue our own individual dreams, we are an American family and we rise or fall together as one nation and as one people. Tonight, in this election, you, the American people, reminded us that while our road has been hard, while our journey has been long, we have picked ourselves up. We have fought our way back. And we know in our hearts that for the United States of America, the best is yet to come.
Let's go for amnesty. Let's go. This is a desperate party, but at least they are starting to think in one real policy terms.
No, absolutely, Lawrence. I think actually the slogan for the Republican Party in 2016 is going to be, hey, brown people, you know, because they're trying anything they can to sort of warm up to Hispanics at this point.
First, from the head of News Corp, Rupert Murdoch. Met Romney last week. Tough O, meaning Obama, Chicago pros will be hard to beat unless he drops old friends from team and hires some real pros. Doubtful. Then former General Electric CEO Jack Welch chimed in, tweeting this to his nearly 1.4 million followers. hope Mitt Romney is listening to Murdoch advice on campaign staff, playing in league with Chicago Paul's No Room for Amateurs.